Hey, how's it going? Keith Townsend with today's CTO Daily Dose. We're going to talk about hybrid IT versus hybrid cloud. What's the difference? Is there a difference? And if so, what do you need to know? So let's talk about first hybrid cloud, which is kind of the dream and the promise of mixing both public cloud or multi cloud and the private cloud. So this is really kind of the nirvana of all of the marketing stuff we see from vendors and from our folks, pundits in the IT industry in general, talking about what the future of delivery of IT services is. So we have the public cloud services, Azure, AWS, Google Compute. You can throw all of them in there. And then we have our on premises solution, our private cloud. And then we have our end user developer who's going to consume this private cloud. And this private cloud integrates with the various services. So, in theory, let's go ahead and spell out private. In theory, our IT infrastructure team builds this private cloud, this component of your hybrid cloud. So that's based on VMware vCloud suite of services, whatever they call it today, OpenStack. There's a ton of players that play in this private cloud orchestration management layer, providing that interface. I like to call it an API to your data center, providing the API to your data center. Those platforms then integrate with Azure and AWS. So in theory, at least the theory at least, is that the developer can go through, pick a list of services that they want to consume, build an application based on those services, and then the private cloud orchestration tool, and a lot of vendors, HPE, Nutanix, are actually building new interfaces to this approach, would then go out and consume the best cloud resource for that solution, be it via a public cloud, Azure, AWS, Google Compute, Oracle Cloud, or your private data center assets. Where does this kind of fall apart? Well, it falls apart in a couple of areas. The whole multi cloud piece is one of the biggest challenges. The one thing that you run into a practical issue with is data. Data has gravity. When you're talking about terabytes, hundreds of terabytes, petabytes of data, of active data, and latency impacts the access to that data and the performance of your application, and not to mention governance issues. We have the technical hurdle of how do we provide data across all of these cloud resources. We'll talk about global file systems and distributed file systems in the future that aim to tackle this problem, but a lot of the challenges is still around latency and access to the data. After you get past that problem, there's the practical problem of building a successful private cloud. I've talked about this ad nauseum. There's not an awful lot of private clouds at scale in enterprise IT, in traditional enterprise IT, because doing private cloud is hard in itself. So having the dream of orchestrating between your private cloud solution and your hybrid and your public cloud solutions to form a hybrid cloud, pretty ambitious, pretty interesting. So the label hybrid cloud. How you get there? A lot of different options here, plenty of options there. The API interfaces between the two, the APIs between Azure, AWS, Google Compute, Oracle Cloud, IBM Cloud, and your private cloud. Let's not get into those complexities. We'll just leave it at that. That's hybrid cloud. So hybrid IT. So not a lot of people have hybrid cloud. That's kind of the fantasy. Hybrid IT ecosystem for hybrid IT is way bigger than what we have in this picture above. We can keep drawing these clouds and they'll just go on and on. Most organizations have a hybrid IT environment, whether they realize it or not. So this can obviously include IaaS services that we've listed above, some PaaS services that exist inside of these public cloud services, or even that are not listed, such as Salesforce is a great example. Workday is something that obviously become a huge part of the IT landscape. And then we have our ERP solutions such as Oracle solution, database type solutions, and their business apps, not to forget the PeopleSoft folks. And then, the SAP type things that's going on in the cloud. And then we have our traditional IT data center, where inside of that we have our traditional heavy apps that are ran on top of VMware, traditional Microsoft Windows stacks, bare metal Linux, in all of the infrastructure, whether it's servers or networking. So we have our traditional IT infrastructure landscape where we're using our traditional tools, our service management portals, etc., to manage traditional IT. But there's a need to integrate these solutions because in practice what we're discovering that if we put an application such as SAP in the cloud, there's going to be a high reliance on internal data and internal resources and external data, or internal data and external resources. We can inverse this. We can put SAP inside of the data center, and we can have Salesforce.com integrations, but we're not building that private cloud encapsulation around our data center. This is the part that transforming this into this is what I think we've tried to do in the past, and we've failed time and time again. I think what we're starting to realize from an enterprise IT perspective, the way to go is not necessarily create a private cloud and duplicate what Azure, AWS, Google Compute, Oracle, and are in the business of doing. It's how do we get to a model where we integrate these services. Our private data centers are not going away, but there's a need to integrate networking, storage, data replication, data synchronization, governance between our cloud providers and our internal data center. So I'll be talking a lot about this on the CTO Advisor Daily Dose, and follow it on the Twitter, the hashtag CTO Daily Dose. We'll copy it on LinkedIn, Periscope, Facebook, get the message out. This is extremely exciting stuff, but complicated. I just wanted to make sure we get based in terms. Hybrid IT is saying that I'm going to take my steady state operations, integrate cloud services with those steady state operations, versus hybrid cloud, where I'm going to transform the delivery method of IT into private cloud and integrate that with one or more service providers within the public cloud space, giving a single interface to my developer community. That's it for today's CTO Daily Dose. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Follow me on the web, thectoadvisor.com, the blog, the podcast, etc. can be found there, and of course on Twitter at CTO Advisor. Talk to you guys tomorrow.